Welcome to Collectively Unhinged Therapy Talk, the space where two therapists get real about what it means to be human in and out of the therapy room. I'm Melissa, a licensed mental health therapist, and with me is my co-host.
Hi, my name is Courtnie. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist.
Which, by the way, we both just got recently licensed in other states, so maybe we can start talking about that since I don't know, I feel like it's kind of a big deal. I didn't think I was ever gonna get licensed in other states, even though two of them were the easiest thing I've ever done in my life.
For sure, right? It totally was a lot easier than I ever thought it was going to be. But no, yeah, that's a great place to start. Melissa, what do you think for you encouraged you to want to get licensed in other states?
Well, I had a client move to another state, and that was encouragement. But honestly, I didn't think it was going to be so challenging. Obviously, I guess I can say where she moved because there's no way to track a single person down just based off of a move from Florida. But she moved to Texas. I thought it was going to be relatively easy. It took 6 months. It was a massive headache. And Courtnie will tell you that South Carolina and Colorado happened in basically a day. So any therapists out there looking to get licensed, South Carolina and Colorado are it. Texas, not so much.
Yeah, I don't know why you had such a difficult time with that. Also, for example, Virginia, we both went through the process of getting licensed in Virginia. My process was super quick. It was just a matter of verifying my licenses with the other states. Whereas for Melissa, they wanted 1,000 additional things from her that just didn't make sense. And it's just I don't understand that process necessarily, why it's more for one person in comparison to another, or maybe more so why it's more for one type of license in comparison to another. That's a little weird.
Yeah, no, they're keeping my money. I looked at that list of things and I was like, absolutely not. I can't do it. Which maybe we can I don't know, segue into how busy we are and how we are unhinged, and that's why our podcast is called Collectively Unhinged.
Yes, as you can see, Melissa has such a way with words, truly. But no, to be honest, we are a fairly new, not only to the podcasting world, but also to private practice. We've really only been established towards the very, very end of 2023 and really didn't get the ball rolling until 2024. But I will say that within that time frame, we've done such amazing work. We've had so many people have told us, don't expect, to make any sort of real movement within the first year. Don't expect to make any profit. Don't expect to, really have a lot of growth. I think in totality within the time frame that it takes at least 2 years or something to get your business growing. And no, that was not the case for us whatsoever. We were determined, we were dedicated, and we knew what we wanted to do, and we did it. And within really, I counted as a 1 year time frame, we made profit. We expanded our business to have now up to 4 additional therapists aside from Melissa and I. And now we're, as we've been talking about, expanding into other states as well. And that's all about just us trying to grow, us trying to, make this the best that we can be. And also really what this podcast is all about is to tell other people, we're just as collectively unhinged as the rest of you, hands down. What?
Yeah, this is a get to know your therapist. I have clients that are is it okay if I ask you these questions? If you have questions, come listen to this podcast. This is how you get to know a little more about your therapist.
For sure. So Melissa, why don't you tell people what got us started with the idea of starting this practice that we grew together?
So mostly just a mutual dislike for our boss, which oh my God, is that lady something special. But I'm sure that a lot of people can relate to maybe not liking their boss, which honestly, I don't think I've ever had an experience where I've disliked my boss like this. Hope I've had like luckily really good experiences with my bosses. I've always been like, I don't want to say always, I had a rough spot when I was a teenager, but I've always been a pretty good employee. So this was something new. And I think we were kind of just like both fed up with the situation. We're like, you know what? Let's go be our own bosses. I think I was a little more anxious about it than Courtney. I just tend to be more anxious, and Courtney tends to be more like, what is wrong with you, just get it together. But yeah, that was the decision making process there. We were like, let's go find peace being our own bosses.
Yeah, like I always have a very creative mind, and I really wanted to be in a space where I could be creative in the things that I was doing. And I thought that in that space, I was a clinical director of my program. I had those opportunities to do that. That's what I was told, at least when I was offered the position, that I was going to have the creative space to kind of set, guidelines and policies, how I really wanted our program to look like. And I would come up with all these ideas, which, mind you, granted, Melissa gets like completely has so much anxiety over half of the time when I come up with like 1,000 ideas.
So many ideas.
But like I had all these ideas, and every single thing would get shot down. Every single thing without fail would get shot down. And our clinical director would try to implement her own ideas without any input from us whatsoever, even to a point where I flat out told him, like, hey, like, I really don't like this. In fact, like, there was even one thing I was like, I feel actually pretty disrespected by this. And nothing. It was like, okay, I hear you, but it's not going to change. And I think at that point, I just lost like all hope of really finding any sort of contentment with that job. And yeah, I wasn't necessarily like on the same mindset as Melissa at that time, but I was like, yeah, this is not going to work out. I do not want to be here any longer. And then yeah, that started this journey for us.
Yeah, and Courtney is definitely a very creative person. Don't there's no other way around it. But I appreciate it, right? Because she has all these things come up that I would never think about. So I'm just glad somebody's thinking of it. One of us has to, and it would not come naturally from me. So she gets to make up all the ideas, and I'm always like, okay. And she's like, what do you think? I'm like, that's great, let's do it. And she's like, whatever, dude. So that's kind of how we run our business. Courtney has all the ideas, and I'm like, all right, I'll do it.
No, I will say, like for anybody out there who is possibly thinking of like starting their own business, I would actually really encourage you to like have a partner in that you feel comfortable with. I knew Melissa for I think about like 3 years prior to us getting into this, but like somebody that you feel comfortable being able to do this with, and also that maybe has like some of a little bit of opposite traits from you. So like I am the one that maybe comes up with like some crazy ideas, but Melissa keeps us really grounded in that too. Like, okay, yes, I love these ideas, but maybe let's like spread it out and maybe like, do some now, some later, so that we're also managing our finances as well. So if anybody is out there looking for that, really, I do encourage you to really look at the traits of your potential business partner. I will also say as well, this is like a small plug-in. Melissa and I do also offer consultations for anybody that is looking to start their own private practice, or any even grad students out there that are just graduating and looking into like trying to figure out, well, what the heck do I do next? I would also say that that's also our topic for our next episode. It's going to be kind of like the reality versus expectations of grad school in real life. That should be a really good episode, though, too.
Yeah, yeah. And as we go, we'll have some big ones. Like there's always like relationship concerns, anxiety, depression. So we're gonna like touch up on a bunch of different things, and also like how it's impacted us, which This episode should also include like a little more about us and why we're a little unhinged. So, Courtney, do you want to talk about the 6 people you have living under your roof and how that impacts your mental health?
And we were on the same mindset there. I was like, we should probably start talking about that too. Yeah, you should know maybe a little bit about the people that you're talking to right now. Like, who the hell are these strangers that are just like randomly talking to us? So, outside of being a licensed marriage and family therapist, in terms of my personal life, I do have 4 kids. I will pause there and give everybody like a minute to grasp that, because I understand, especially in today's society, it's like, what are you, like a billionaire, a millionaire, or something like that? You have 4 kids. Like, what is wrong with you? I will say that I do come from a big family. My husband comes from a big family, and we kind of like always had it in our heads that we wanted to have 4 kids. Did I ever predict it was going to be kind of like in how society is today? Probably not. But that was always the plan. And I've been fortunate enough that we have pretty much some finances to be able to afford that. And aside from that, I've been married to my husband for, oh my gosh, in July, it will be 17 years that we have been married. So that will also come up to a little bit more about that in other episodes about what married life has looked like, the chaos of that.
Yeah, honestly, while you were talking about money, I'm like, for sure that's the main reason you only shop at Costco. Like, there's no way you can go to Publix or anything. Like, there's just zero chance. Man,
dude, I went to Publix the other day because this is like teacher appreciation week at my kid's school. So you're supposed to like get your teacher lunch for the day, because I'm the assigned room parent for this year. And I'm like, okay, so like, what do you want for lunch? And she's like, oh, I'm on like a full fruit based diet right now. So like, I'm only eating fruit this week. I was like, okay. So I was like, I went to Publix, and dude, it was so freaking expensive.
$30 for one thing of freaking strawberry.
Like, I literally, I swear to God, I spent like almost $60 on like buying all of this fruit to give the teacher. Like, I put it in like a basket or whatever, so I could give her like a fruit basket. I was like, holy crap, $60 just to buy this to feed like one person. I could spend $60 at Costco and get like so much more. I'm like, yes, this is why I shop at Costco. Hands down.
Honestly, right now you can't walk outside without like spending $100, like just for breathing the air. So yeah, it's kind of crazy if you can go. I mean, a lot of people go to Publix, but hopefully they're single people, because it's I don't know, you buy groceries for 3 days and you're like $350 deep. Like,
yes. Yes, absolutely. So yeah, so that's a little bit about me. You will hear more about me. You'll get some more insight on my life, outside of this one episode. But yeah, that's just like a brief idea. Outside of that, I'm also, like I mentioned, I think a few times, I'm very creative. I work a lot with my hands and creating a lot of different things. I love to cook when I can cook, and I love my life, even as crazy as it is. There's a lot of beauty in it. I'm close with my family. I'm close with my husband. In the process of training for a marathon, thanks to Melissa, my very first marathon. To any of you runners out there, you know what the pain of that looks like. But yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Okay, well, I'm glad that you had to. How life is. You're like, so I actually don't hate my husband, guys. I just want to point that out. Most people are like, wow, I hate him. I hate my husband. I also don't hate my husband. I just dislike him sometimes. He's just sometimes. I love him more than I dislike him, so I think we're doing good. So like a little bit about me, as you can hear in the background, I have a 2-year-old who loves to yell the entire time. So if you have any therapy sessions with me, I have to like mute the mic and just listen, because if it's on, he's like yelling the entire time. I apologize if anybody has found that not very therapeutic, but it's I have a 2-year-old. I also have a 7-month-old, which, speaking of groceries, is now starting to eat. And man, I don't know what's better, if it's better to buy food or formula, but everything is kind of rough out there. I have not been with my husband for 17 years. I don't know how Courtnie has managed that. We've been together for 3. We had our anniversary and he said happy 2-year anniversary. And I was like, wow, you are an entire year off. We have a 2-year-old. We've been married for 3, together for 3 and a month. Just kidding. We got married really fast, but not a month in, like six months in. So, if anybody, I love when my clients are like, you're going to think we're crazy, but we're moving in after 3 months. And I'm like, oh, you have no idea. I don't think you're crazy. It's fine. It's fine. And yeah, I signed Courtnie up for not just a marathon for, I don't know if we have any like Disney people. I know there's some people that are like, Disney adults are weird, but we have kids, so like we can get away with it. But I signed Courtnie up for a Dopey challenge. So she's going to be doing a 5K, so 3 miles, a 10K, 6 miles, a half marathon, and then a full marathon. So she is so excited. And honestly, she thanked me the other day for signing her up. So she's talking shit. She's excited.
Can we please not talk about that? I'm still very much in denial that that will be happening. I'm just telling people I'm running a marathon because that's the only thing I have in my head right now. That's it.
I'm excited. I mean, we can kind of segue a little bit into like how we implement self-care. Like, I don't want to, we're not going to have like a whole end of the podcast like talking about self-care, but it is like what we do to like work through things. So like, Courtnie, do you feel like running is self-care, or do you feel like it stresses you out more?
So like I wish I could like just write down what I'm thinking as I'm running, so like you guys have an idea. But it's like I'll start off like, okay, this isn't so bad, like this is good, and then I love the feeling of running. I don't know how, because this is insane just saying it, but I love the feeling of running at 5 a.m. when everything is like dark, it's still cool out, and nobody is there. Because then part of it is like nobody can see how much you are just struggling with running. But it's like I'll be going in and I'm like, okay, this feels good. It's nice out. It's like I have a good vibe going, and then it's like, oh man, my leg is cramping a little bit. Then it's like, oh man, why am I running so much? It's like, oh my God, it's only been like 2 miles and I still have like 6 more miles to go. And then it's like I'm going through this whole process, and I'll get to like mile 6, like, yeah, I'm feeling good. I can keep on running. Like, let's do this. And then like at the end of whatever mile I'm trying to reach, I'm like, oh my God, I never want to do that again. So it's like I go through all of these highs and lows of just running. So like, yeah, you could call it self-care for like 5 minutes for me. And then other parts, I'm just like, what the hell am I doing?
The whole time.
It is the craziest thing.
Yeah, there's somebody that's like kind of going viral on Instagram. I love watching her because she's like signed up for my first marathon ever. And she like just complains the entire time. She's like, why am I out here? This sucks. She's like, follow me to see if I even finish this thing. Like, I do not see how I get across that finish line. So I feel like you're more relatable than I am. Like,
because Melissa is a freaking superwoman that nobody should ever attempt to compare herself to Melissa, because you will never ever add up. She is a freaking beast. And it is beyond ridiculous.
Well, no, I don't know. Well, I think at one point in my life I used to be, but I've had to. I'm making a little bit of a fitness comeback, but I try. I did just sign up for a 50-mile race, so not very relatable. Actually, funny. Like I had somebody tell me the other day, like, oh my God, like I know somebody that gets up at like 4 a.m. Like, you have to work out. You have to have like some sort of issue to do that. Like 5 a.m. is like working on yourself before you have problems. And I just started laughing. I was like, that's me. And they were like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm like, yeah, no, don't worry. I get up that early. But also I get up that early because I don't really have a choice. The 2 kids, it's a lot for anybody to handle. So I try to be done like around when they wake up. But in how long I've been running, I feel like I go through like a lot of those similar emotions to Courtnie. I have a 4.5-hour run this weekend, and I do not feel good that entire time. I'm not like, oh my God, running is fantastic. This is great. I'm literally like, I hate this. When is this gonna finish? Like, my plan is to start at 4 a.m, which is crazy. But by the time 7 a.m. comes around, I'm like, do I want this? Like, can I just quit? So it's a lot of like there's a lot of mental strength. So if you're not willing to hate yourself for a little bit, don't sign up for an ultra.
No, but like Melissa's not really giving herself enough credit. This female gave birth. When did you give birth to your daughter?
September.
When was it? September. Okay, she gave birth to her daughter in September. Did the dopey, which again, as she told you, 5K, 10K, half marathon, full marathon, total of like almost 50 miles in January, right? So we're talking about a very short time period of recovery. Did it no problem. She was good to go after that. Did like another freaking Disney challenge, half marathon, 5K, 10K weekend thing the month after that. Did another challenge weekend just, what was it, like a week ago, 2 weeks ago, which was like another 20-mile challenge as well. Did a high rocks just last weekend, which if anybody who's like into high rocks or knows what that is, then you know what that is. Okay. Signed up for an ultra marathon already for, when is it, June, July, something like that.
July, yeah.
And then has Adobe. Oh, and mind you, for the last Disney race that we had, a 10 miler, I think it was it the 10 miler? She finished in 48th place out of like, how many people was it? Insane. Like, how many people was it?
It was out of women. It was like almost 8,000 women.
8,000 women. She finished in 48th place, ran like a ridiculous 8-minute pace or something like that. No, like I said, she is Superwoman. Do not ever try to like compare yourself to her, because like absolutely not. And the insane thing was like, she was like, oh, I'll go run with you during the 5K. I don't know which one it was. 5K or 10K. I was like, absolutely not. Like, do not come anywhere near me. That is not happening. I was like, absolutely not. And so then she's like, oh no, I'm gonna run pretty chill. Like, I'm gonna be good. I'm like, bro, your chill, your slow pace is probably like even faster than my fastest pace. I was like, absolutely not. It's not happening. But she's insane like that. Like, she's such a powerhouse. 2 kids, like just gave birth last year. Like, I'm telling you, she's insane. So disciplined, gets up all the time to work out no matter what. Trust me, we could all learn a lot from her in terms of that.
I appreciate that, Courtnie, but also you're gonna go run tonight too. So I feel like, maybe we're in the wrong profession. Maybe instead of mental health therapists, we should be like fitness influencers and like how to motivate you to like get your fitness goals in. But yeah, I feel like we're both doing big things. I think anybody that does like any type of running, you're already killing it. And anybody who's ever done like even a half marathon, like that's also crazy. Like you think about it and you're like, that's a whole 13.1 miles that you're running. So I do want to ask, I know we're running out of time, but Courtnie, I want to talk about your experience in the half marathon, because you cried when you finished. So what were you feeling?
Really? Like, yeah, let's just put that out there.
Yeah, it's a big deal. It's not something that's easy. I want you to talk about like how hard you worked and how you killed it.
So I had just given birth. Well, not just, that's a lie. I had given birth to my 4th and final child. And I was like, okay, I want to get in better shape, because any mother out there knows like what your body goes through after having even just one kid. So after having my 4th kid, I was like, okay, I want to get back in shape. I want something to work towards. And of course, insane Melissa over here was like, oh, why not sign up for, a run? Mind you, I have probably like have not run since probably like high school or something, or middle school, whenever they like have you run like the 1 mile to see how fast you go or something. That was really like the last time I've run. Never thought about running again a day in my life. And she was like, yeah, sign up for it. And I was like, why? In my head, I'm like, why? Do I really want to do this? But then I was like, oh, well, that's such an accomplishment to say that you did something like that. And I knew that the second that I told my husband about it, like that was going to be it. He was going to be completely on board, which of course that has been the case. And I knew like that was it. Like once I started talking about it, I was going to have to commit to it. So from there, it was like Melissa and her husband like giving me like guidelines of like what I should be doing to start. So it was like really just like a lot of walking in like the first maybe 1 to 3 months, just like a lot of walking. and going from there. And then it was crazy because like the more that I actually walked and then ran, the more energy that I got. I was like, okay, like this is great for helping me run after 4 kids, or really 3 kids and then a newborn. And then it was just like, the more that I ran, I was like, wow, I never thought I could run even for 5 minutes. And then it was like, I was running for 10 minutes and then 20 minutes. And then like the next thing that you knew, I was like running 6 miles and then 10 miles and then freaking 13 miles, which mind you, I was dead. I was like dead at the end of it. But I was like, I never thought that I could do that, which was completely insane. I will say more than anything, this is not just running, although that's what we're relating to here. It's more so of a mental game than it is anything else. Your body, you could put it through all that physical stuff as long as like you're training properly and whatnot, but really it's more of a mental game than anything. And thankfully for me, being a therapist, knowing like the tools that were going to help me get through it, it really helped me get through it. Like, just like giving myself that mental headspace of not only just encouragement, but like challenging like those negative thoughts. Like I couldn't do this. Like this was not in the cards for me. Like really going through all that, it helped a lot. And I finished and it happened. And now I'm on the next path of unfortunately doing the dopey, which is amazing, I guess, at the same time.
I guess.
But yeah, it is a mental game. It really is, more than anything.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't just finish, you killed it. So you got to give yourself credit, which is why I wholeheartedly believe that you are going to not just finish your marathon, but do better than you thought. So yeah, I don't know if this is super relatable to most people, because most people won't run a marathon, but maybe we're encouraging people to like start running, right? I mean, people are gonna be like, oh my god, I ran a mile after listening to your podcast. It'd be like, all right,
yeah,
cool.
Follow us for some more tips and tricks on running a marathon. That's it. We're changing our podcast here and now. This is all going to be about running now.
Yeah, it's just going to be like ultra runners.
No, that will never freaking happen. I'm not doing that whatsoever. The fact that you're insane enough to do that, which I applaud you for, but absolutely not. Never.
Yeah, I mean, I like that we're, talking about these goals, because I don't know, everybody's goals look so different, and like maybe, for me it's to just like finish a 50-mile race and then, like what's next after that. But like everybody has different goals, and I really do think that in order to feel like 100% fulfilled, we have to have some goals, even if like it's even like the most simple thing that like doesn't seem like a goal. So I feel like it's like important to find like what's going to keep us motivated. Even if the goal is like, don't yell at a customer today at work, like that's a great goal, right?
No, for sure. And I will say for me, like my goal was really more so in regards to this podcast, like really creating that space where, we could vent, we could laugh, we could, remind ourselves, or really remind everybody else that's out there that you are not alone in this. I've met so many people, heard from so many people that have been so discouraged from the idea of doing therapy because of like this whole stigma that can sometimes be attached to it, or like their perceptions of how things are going to go, or like how their therapist is going to perceive them. And again, really, that's what this podcast is about. Like, we're just as collectively unhinged as you guys are. Like, that is it, and really having the space to be able to talk about that. And then, of course, like, if anybody out there that is listening to us wants to like share their stories with us, whatever is going on, we would love to be able to hear from you guys. We're also planning on bringing in guests, maybe bringing in our husbands, talking about really hard topics sometimes too, whatever you guys are really interested in. So I would really encourage you, again, if you are interested, reach out to us. You can find us on TikTok. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on our website. It's strongmindmh, everywhere you go. TikTok, Instagram, our website, strongmindmh. So please reach out to us. Give us your stories, whether hard or hilarious, whatever you want us to let us know, or if there's just certain things you want us to be able to talk about.
Yeah, Yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up. Also, we are so unhinged that you don't even know what version of this podcast you're gonna get. Because this is the third time we recorded the first podcast, so you can also ask us about that. But we're just out here figuring out life, like the rest of
True.
everybody. So sometimes we're not speaking as therapists. Sometimes we're just speaking from experience because life can hit you kind of hard.
Very true.
Yeah. All right. We ready for our same exit outro we're always gonna have?
So I will say before we wrap up, let's leave our fellow unhinged listeners with a takeaway for today. If you are feeling burnt out, overwhelmed, or just straight up exhausted, remember, you do not have to have it all figured out. Give yourself some grace, and if all else fails, take a nap, drink some water, or like some tequila maybe, if that's a go-to for you, and remind yourself you are doing the best that you can. We will see you next time for more chaos, catharsis, and collective unhingedness. Stay sane, or at least try. Bye.
Bye.